everybody, I'm Stella Meldau, and I'm going to be chatting to you a little bit about ferals today. Welcome to the Fun for the Love of Rescue. So this is Michelle over here, and Michelle Raath runs an amazing feral community, and I won't even mention numbers, but let me tell you something, it's double digits. When Michelle came into my life, it must be about 8 years ago. Actually, it's not. I met Michelle in 2015. There you go. I remember that now. So when I met Michelle, she was running a tiny little shelter, Sandpaper Kisses, and I didn't even know what the name meant. So Sandpaper Kisses is the lick of a kitten. That's the sandpaper tongue. So welcome, Michelle. Welcome to For Love of Rescue. And Michelle came into our life, and she decided to embrace our little feral community and give us different tips and tell us what to expect from ferals and how to embrace the feral communities. And you know, often I walk through our feral community, and to me they don't seem feral anymore. And Michelle will tell you she comes at least once a month, and today she's done such a blessing. She's done her Christmas feeding, and she's brought some lovely goodies, chicken and all yummies for her feral community here at Woodrock Animal Rescue. And did they come out?
Yes, they did. So they all know me very well. So they'll all peel out from wherever. Because obviously it looks as though they're our own cats. So yes, they all came out and couldn't wait for Christmas.
And in actual fact, Michelle has even adopted a so-called feral from Woodrock Animal Rescue. What qualifies a cat as a feral?
A feral cat is a cat that's been born and never been touched or close to a human being. So they don't really know human touch, human voice, whatever. That can change. A lot of ferals get to know their feral carers, and they will come out for them and they'll rub their legs and everything. I would never try to pick up a feral, even if it is when you put it into a cage or trip, because it will turn feral, which is different to a stray. A stray is generally a cat that's been lost or raised or abandoned. It knows humans. It will come up to a human far more easily than a feral ever would. Ferals normally spend their lives hiding from human beings.
And you know, I've learned so much since Michelle's come into our lives about the feral community, and they spend, a normal cat spends between 8 to 10 hours sleeping. A feral, Michelle, how many hours would you say a feral gets to sleep?
A feral gets to sleep very, very little. They are constantly on guard for danger coming out, and it can be, depending where they are, it could be wild animals, it could be humans, it could be traffic, it could be heat, it could be anything. So a feral cat is very lucky to get 4 to 6 hours sleep a day, because they are on guard, and even when they are asleep, it's not a deep sleep like a house cat would be. It is always half aware of its surroundings, any change in noise, any change in movement.
And Michelle, in your feral experience, do you see kittens, or are they all standard senior cats?
No, there's a lot of kittens. A colony starts off with a mommy that's either abandoned or dumped or whatever at a place. She has kittens. Those kittens are feral because nobody's touched them or raised them or been around humans. And obviously those kittens then have kittens, and so we stop. So the biggest thing that we fight against is that having to stop the cycle of kittens in feral colonies.
Michelle's going to mention the badge of honor in 1 second, but you said something that's a little foreign to me. Do you mean to tell me a person who doesn't want their cat anymore would have the gall or the cruelty to take their loved cat that slept in their home on their bed and take it and unsterilize and put it into a feral community?
It happens more often than people realize. So it's not even often in a feral community. We have people in the States even, and when they move, they'll leave mommy, kitten, cat behind. Mommy's not sterilized, mommy has kittens, and then you have a small feral community within an estate, within an office park, with anything like that. And often what happens is that people will see a feral feeder feeding a colony and think it's fine, they'll put the cat there, she'll be fine, she'll get food, not understanding that feral colonies are very territorial, very family orientated. They will not simply accept a newcomer. It is very, very seldom that a domesticated cat will become an integral part of the feral colony. She may be there and come and scavenge for food, but she won't be an integral part of it.
So now these kittens, do they become welcomed by the colony?
Some do, some don't. It often depends on the personality of the kitten. They often, if your shy ones might be there, like mommy in the background, the other ones will be more forward and go try and make friends with cats in the colony.
So if a cat has, an adult cat has a litter of kittens in a feral community, does that mean you've got to trap all those offspring, and the cycle is just so enormous that it can just become out of control if it hasn't been identified?
Absolutely. So we have colonies that are a couple of hundred cats strong, and that started off, I'm sure you, with 1 or 2 cats that were just left to breed.
So then, who pays for this?
The organisation of feral care normally pays.
Out of their own pockets?
Out of their own pockets, or through raising funds or doing whatever you can. And there are other organisations out there like you guys who will sponsor sometimes and help and do outreaches with that sort of thing. But it generally is the carer that pays.
Michelle, do you find that the feral, the idea or the word feral has become more knowledge, like people are more, they're becoming more aware of what's expected and what a feral feeder goes through and what feral communities are?
Not really. I find it often where I feed, there's staff members around, and we feed on very large sites. So I'm talking kilometers large, not just, I drive from place to place. And a lot of people don't know. They simply know the cats are there. They don't understand the anguish and the danger that ferals live in.
So my question is, right, so now I work at a company in Sandton, and I've seen a feral colony behind the area, and they all look pretty, like coping, not knowing that there's a feral feeder, but my boss says, get rid of them. So I phone the SPCA, and they come and they trap them all and put them all to sleep. Is that how it works?
Yes, that does happen very often. Sadly, it does happen very often. Feral cats are seen as vermin.
So what happens to the area now? So now I've removed all the cats, my boss is happy, I'm happy, and the area is clean. Does it just take, oh, that's great, tick.
No. There's something called the vacuum effect. There's always, the feral cats will roam kilometers for food and for unsterilized females. So inevitably another cat is going to move in, and the whole cycle starts again. So our recommendation is always to set up something small and to sterilize what you've got and keep it, because those cats will keep newcomers generally out of that area because they are so territorial.
So what's the benefit of having a feral community?
Feral cats, we call them working cats. So in the areas where we service, it's an industrial type area. You'll find feral cats very often in industrial areas. And those cats keep out rats, snakes, bugs. Yes, there's a lot of talk about them killing birds, but it's not the majority. That is not the majority of what cats hunt. They do hunt more of the mice and rats and that. And we often have companies coming to us after 2 or 3 years after we've worked them and saying, you know what, we no longer have a rat problem. We don't even need the bait stations anymore because the cats are taking care of that. So a feral cat, people believe that feral cats can survive through scavenging and hunting, which is very far from the truth. Cats get weak. If you know yourself, if you haven't eaten for a couple of hours or eaten for a couple of days because you're not feeling well, how weak can that you get? And it's exactly the same. They become too weak to actually hunt.
So how do you get this cat medically seen to? It's feral, you can't touch.
You have to trap.
What if you trap the wrong cat constantly?
That happens. It's a game of perseverance. And even with trapping to sterilize is a game of perseverance, because what often happens is your stragglers will watch the rest of the colony be trapped. They learn that thing takes cats away. And although the cats come back, they know, they've seen the trauma that these cats go through. So we've got cats that have been at colonies now for 2 or 3 years that we've never been able to trap, not through drop trap or any other traps. They're just too wise.
Michelle, if a cat is trapped, what is the very first thing that you should do?
Cover it.
I've learned that. I've since learned that. Please do not stack them one on top of the other and make sure that they're covered.
Covered.
Okay, so then once you've covered them?
Once you've covered them is then obviously to transport them safely and as quietly. We try and make the process as less traumatic in that as we can, because it is extremely traumatic. And remember, they don't know cars, they don't know traveling, they don't know the radio in your car, they don't know human voices sometimes. It is extremely terrifying for these kids. So we try and make it as least stressful as we can, take them to a quiet place, because most times feral carers trap in the evening, which is the best time to trap. Because if you trap a mommy who's had kittens, that mommy's got to get back to the kittens as soon as possible. So to trap her in the morning and to keep her overnight because they've only been sterilized the next day is really not a good idea. So we try and trap in the evenings. We keep them somewhere quiet for the evening, get them to the vets, and then we return them back to their colony as soon as we can.
So while they're still drunk, but there's a thing that you've taught me. Once a cat is sterilized, you identify a sterilized cat through
in their ear. So we take the top notch off of an ear. For Sandpaper kisses, we have left for males and right for females. Right?
Females are always right.
And we always return that the badge of honor. So it helps us to identify when we've got a colony and there's 20 males and 30 females and cats start disappearing and becoming sick or whatever, we can start seeing which numbers are being affected the most. So we often find that males, intake males, come in, especially if they're older, with larger faces, great battle wounds, and it's because of the testosterone that their faces become bigger, and the battle wounds is because they fight with anything and everything around, obviously. So we find once they sterilize, it does take up to 6 months. They do tend to calm down, and the faces actually do tend to become a little bit smaller.
Interesting, because we've got a cat that's changed coat color completely from being in in comfortable environment. Michelle, I asked you a question a little earlier, and I said, has it become harder? And your answer was yes. But I do believe that being in the industry of welfare, I do believe that people there's a steri frenzy on the go.
Absolutely.
And I think that was started, if I'm bold enough to say, by myself, and I'm not proud of it, because it took me down exponentially in that year of 2020. I think it was just after COVID or during COVID, and I suffered terribly during my dream was to sterilize 500 animals, but I learned a lot over that particular program, and since then we noted that the steri program has now become a steri frenzy, and I would like to say, because of the steri frenzy, I do believe that your ability to sterilize more cats has become easier.
A lot of people, like I say, there's a lot of organizations that will help sponsor and help the general public that can't
Yes,
afford
general
to do things.
public are a big one as well. I see that all the time.
Yes, that helps them to get their animals sterilized. A lot of the time, the elderly people are lonely and they're alone, and a pet does help alleviate that loneliness, but they can't afford to do the sterilization and that's where these organizations have played a huge role in helping those people. And I believe that, even the feral cat to an old lady, it gives her purpose to get up and go out and do something. It's something that she can care for, and I do believe that does make a big difference out there. So yes, more people are probably more aware of feral cats, but they're not aware of the plight of the feral cats. But they are aware, because people are now more aware if they go to a shopping centre and see a cat. There's like, oh, what is this? We often get phone calls to say that they've spotted feral cats, and we try to find out if there's a feral. But there are more people aware, but very few people are aware of the plight and
I think what you're looking for is the demands on the feral carer is more than the plight of the cat, because we are all more in the know because of the feral carers, and we understand it more now, far more than when I started rescue many years ago. So Michelle, your needs are traps, feral feeders, the actual stations in the different communities, but most important, the dire need for Sandpaper kisses is food. Food. Michelle is not one to beg. She's got a very gentle way of doing things, but boy, she'll beg if she needs to. So Michelle, thank you for all that you do. It's really a remarkable position. I don't know when you had a holiday, because you ain't going on a holiday anytime soon, because no feral feeder can walk away from a colony. And please, if you ever have done so or ever considered doing so, think again.
Thank you, Stella. Thanks for everything you've done for us.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we look forward to hearing from you, seeing you next week.